and so. But that 12 and 104 seemed to fit a window. I realized I looked at off the coast of Mexico and also the Philippine area. I looked at that. Somehow this 12104 it fits a window. If I had used any other number than that, I used the number right off of the rover screen, and it was more than coincidence that 12 appeared on one and 104 on the other, because that worked on that program that I sent to you. Other numbers would not work. So maybe it makes no difference where that original location was indeed. Like so many other things, it makes no difference. The only thing that matters is to protect self and family and get out of the Gulf and start looking at life a little bit different, change your reality, and realize we're in a terrible, terrible time period when all of our lives are in great jeopardy. Joe?
Yes, that certainly is true. Now, John, you had a little experience dealing with that 104 coordinate. Can you explain to Griff what happened when that happened to you? John, you there?
Yeah, when I first put it in, it took me down to Cancun, it took me over to Africa, it took me over to Morocco, and I finally put it in as 120.22.50.70 east at 10.43.21.68.57 north, and it actually took me over to the Sulu Sea over by the Philippines, which incidentally there is an Exxon oil field over there, as well as the video that I'm going to be putting in the chat room here, the NOLA, from NOLA.com. If you load that video up and you watch it and you go to a timestamp of 33 seconds and you blow up the video, you'll see that the east and north coordinates, write them down, they're very clear, okay? Now, when you also look at the date down in the bottom corner of the picture, you'll see that it is in a European date of 18/5/10, which means it's the 18th of May, 2010. When you scroll ahead or watch the video around the 422 mark, you'll realize that the coordinates, if you pause it, are different than the coordinates at the 30-second or 32-second mark, and the date is 2 days prior. So on the 18th, they're claiming that they're inspecting the wellhead, and down the road, further down the video, at 422, they're claiming that they're putting the jumper on the wellhead, which is down the road, but it occurred 2 days before on the 16th if you look at the video itself. So that tells me, Joe, that the videos are spliced together and the ROVs aren't a single ROVs. The same oil field, wherever that oil field may be, but it's a different wellhead we're looking at.
Right, absolutely. Now, some of these chemicals that are coming out of the volcano, and I call them chemicals, I mean, some of them are naturally occurring elements, have the ability to build up in your system over time. I've heard reports also out of Texas that people that have had prolonged exposure to Corexit are actually hemorrhaging internally. So it's kind of a mix of these fast kill chemicals and slow kill chemicals. Now, the way that I understand Corexit to work on the human body, and I don't know if either of you two have any input on this, our cells are held together by lipids, by oils. And when a dispersant is entered into our when a dispersant enters into our body or bloodstream, remember too, our brains are fatty material or oily too, that it disperses that and it breaks down those bonds which cause the hemorrhaging. Now that I would consider a fast kill type of chemical, especially with the brain. But now we're talking these elements that are coming out, the benzene, the methane, all these other chemicals that are coming out, or the elements that are coming out, now that's the stuff that can build up in your system. So, guys, based on your experience, and Henning, go ahead first on this. What do you see as far as the short-term and long-term implications of this exposure?
Like what you said about the dispersion when it comes into the human body, it dissolves your fat, and it also attacks your brain, because your brain is surrounded by fat in itself, and putting kind of petroleum in there will actually corrode, dissolve the fat, and your brain will lie loose in your cranium. From the volcano, we got sulfur coming out, and that is extremely toxic in its pure state, and it will take longer time, but it will also kill us, because we get too much of it into our system, and then we become too acidic, and we'll be susceptible for cardiovascular diseases and cancer, several types of cancer we will be susceptible to because of the sulfur alone. And that was what the AC he was talking about. You need to hold your drinking water as alkaline as possible in dire times, which is coming now, where our water table is actually going to be polluted, because this sulfur is not only going to spray into the ocean, but it will also spray into those layers I explained in some of my latest videos. Pressure is so high it cannot escape from this pipe, and the pipe is fractured, so it pushes out in the sides too, and it's pressing that sulfur and these hydrocarbons into the layers. And the layers in the southern part of America is kind of brittle. It's not granite, it's sandstone, mudstone, chalk, and limestone, a little, not too much of it actually. It will disperse itself there, and then it will rise up. And it will rise up in our living quarters, but it will also rise up in our... No matter how we twist and turn it, we are really, really in for it this time when it comes to toxicity. From the air and from underground too, we are attacked. There's nothing to do of it.
All right, Henning, you're breaking up just a little bit, so get to a better spot. Griff, you was talking about keeping your body alkali. Can you talk a little bit about how you can do that? What are some of the ways you can do that?
Henning, I don't know what your circumstance is there, but your audio is sliding down the hill. If you could get to a landline phone, that would improve greatly.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Very good.
The alkalinity, it's especially in the time we live. Your bodies should be maintained at a pH something over 7.4. If you can maintain an 8, drink water that's pH 9. Try to maintain an 8 in the body. All disease breeds in an acid environment. Your health would improve. Everything about your cells would improve. There are little machines on the market. You can Google one I know is Ion Life. Just Google Ion Life. ION. Another word, L-I-F-E, or maybe it's one word, Ion Life, I-O-N-L-I-F-E, and you'll get an idea of the little machines that make alkaline water. There's two ways to make water alkaline. One is the little machine. It's an electrolysis process. That's the one you need. The other way is to put chemicals in the water to chemically, like baking soda will bring the pH up. It'll buffer the water. But the electrolysis is the one that will really benefit you, and it'll also improve the life of animals. You'll see kidney problems disappear. All kinds of good benefits can be on you with alkaline water. There's so many things going on here, Joe. It's just an enormous thing to grab and put your mind around. We're in terrible trouble down there. If those people don't get out of that area, they will get sick, they will bleed. That's one thing you didn't mention. There's a lot of bleeding going on in that area down there. The